I want to say something that might completely change how you see your anxiety. What if the anxiety you're feeling isn't something going wrong, but actually your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do, just in a dysregulated way? Because anxiety is not something that's just happening to you. It's your body trying to communicate with you. In this video, I'll show you why your anxiety isn't random, but actually follows clear patterns in your body. The most common root causes I see behind it, from blood sugar instability to gut imbalances, and simple supportive ways you can start working with your body and nervous system to feel more calm, steady, and in control again. Before we get into the specific reasons, I want you to think about this for a second. Imagine you're driving your car and suddenly the check engine light turns on. You wouldn't panic and assume the car is beyond repair. And you also wouldn't just cover the light and hope it goes away. You'd understand that it's a signal. It's your car's way of saying, hey, something needs your attention. And anxiety works in a really similar way. It's not random. It's not meaningless. It's your body's version of a check engine light, really trying to tell you something underneath needs support. So let's look at what your body might actually be trying to tell you when the check engine light of anxiety goes off. The first cause we're going to talk about is blood sugar instability. Have you ever had one of those moments where you suddenly feel anxious, shaky, maybe a little overwhelmed, and nothing even happened? No stressful conversation, no obvious trigger, just this wave in your body that feels like anxiety out of nowhere. I hear this all the time from my clients as we start working together. Experiencing these anxious moments mid-morning, mid-afternoon, or even during those 3 a.m. wake-ups where their mind suddenly turns on. And what's happening here isn't random, it's a signal. Your brain actually uses about 20% of your body's total glucose supply. So even small dips in blood sugar can feel like a threat to your system. When your blood sugar drops, your body releases adrenaline as a quick rescue mechanism. And that adrenaline creates the exact same sensations as anxiety. Racing heart, shakiness, that sense of urgency in your body. So what you're feeling isn't anxiety for no reason. It's your body trying to stabilize you. And this tends to follow really clear patterns. It often shows up a few hours after a meal that was mostly carbs or low in protein, or after a morning fueled by coffee without food, or when your body hasn't had consistent meals throughout the day. And there's another layer here. When blood sugar is unstable, your body also produces less of your main calming neurotransmitter, GABA, that helps you settle. So not only are you triggering stress when your blood sugar is unstable, you're also reducing your ability to come back down from it. Now, the support here is actually very simple. Your body is asking for stability. That can look like having consistent meals throughout the day, combining protein, fats, and carbohydrates together, and giving your body some form of nourishment in the morning, even if it's small. Because sometimes your body isn't anxious, it's under-fueled. The second cause I want to share with you is nervous system overload. You might also recognize this version of anxiety, where you feel wired, but completely exhausted at the same time. You finally sit down at the end of the day, and instead of relaxing, your mind is still going. Your body still feels on edge. And even when you try to slow it down, it doesn't feel like your system knows how. I see this so often, especially in people who are doing all of the right things. They're eating well, they're doing their best to take care of themselves, but they never actually pause. Their system never gets the signal that it's safe to rest. And what's happening here is that your nervous system is stuck in what we call a fight or flight state. Because your nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do, responding to input. But it's been under constant stimulation for so long that it hasn't had the space to fully turn off and reset. And it's important to understand, this isn't just about big, obvious stressors. Your nervous system also responds to things like constant notifications, multitasking, emotional input from conversations, news, or social media. Your body reads all of that as stimulation. And over time, this lowers your nervous system's ability to come back to calm. So instead of moving up into stress and then back down into safety, you get stuck in that activated state. Which is why it can feel like your anxiety is always on, even when your life doesn't look that stressful on the surface. So, the reframe here is really important. What you're feeling is real anxiety in your body. And at the same time, remember, it's a sign your system is overactivated and hasn't yet been supported back down into a steady state. And this is where a lot of people get stuck because they try to think their way out of it. They tell themselves, I just need to relax. But your nervous system doesn't learn through thought. It learns through experience, through repetition. So the support here isn't more thinking. It's creating small, consistent moments every day where your body can actually experience safety again. That can look like taking a 5-minute break to slow your breath, pausing between parts of your day instead of going nonstop, reducing input, even just a little, and bringing more presence into what you're already doing. Because regulation isn't something you think your way into. It's something you practice and train your way into. And over time, that's what teaches your body how to come back down. A third cause I want to share with you is mineral and nutrient depletion. This is another pattern I see that often gets missed, where someone feels constantly tense, tight in their chest or shoulders, easily overwhelmed, especially when stress comes up. And it can feel confusing because they're doing their best to manage stress, but their body just doesn't seem to handle it well. If this resonates, I want you to consider this. What if your body isn't just overwhelmed, but under-resourced? Because your body needs specific nutrients to actually create a sense of calm. One of the biggest ones is magnesium. Magnesium plays a role in over 300 biochemical processes in the body, including regulating your stress response, supporting your nervous system, and helping your muscles physically relax. And here's the part most people don't realize. The more stressed that you are, the more magnesium your body uses. And things like caffeine, busy schedules, and chronic stress can actually deplete it even further. So you end up in this loop where you're feeling more anxious because your body is running low on the very resources it needs to stay calm. There's also a deeper layer here with minerals and electrolytes. Things like sodium and potassium help regulate your nervous system and energy levels. And when those are low, it can show up as fatigue, dizziness, heart palpitations, and yes, anxiety-like symptoms. So again, what you're feeling is real. And at the same time, your body may simply not have the nutrients it needs to feel steady. The support here isn't complicated. It can look like increasing magnesium, often in a form of magnesium glycinate, adding in electrolytes or mineral-rich fluids, and focusing on more whole, nutrient-dense foods throughout your day. A depleted body will always feel more anxious because your body is responding exactly as it's designed to. But without the resources it needs, it can't create that steady sense of calm that you desire. There's another version of anxiety that can feel a little harder to pin down, where you feel off in your body, maybe a bit anxious, a bit bloated, your digestion feels off, your mood is up and down, and there's this underlying sense of not feeling like yourself. And what makes this one especially frustrating is that there's no clear reason. Nothing specific happened, you just don't feel steady or calm. If this feels familiar, this is where we start to look at this next cause, the connection between your gut and your mood. Because your gut and brain are in constant communication. Your gut is actually involved in producing and regulating many of the same neurotransmitters that affect how calm or anxious you feel. So when your gut is inflamed or out of balance, that communication gets disrupted. And that can show up as anxiety, brain fog, mood swings, and that overall feeling of being off. What's happening underneath is often inflammation. When the gut is irritated, whether from certain foods, stress, or imbalances in your gut microbiome, it creates a ripple effect throughout the body. And your nervous system feels that. So again, what you're experiencing is real. And at the same time, it may be your body asking for help at the level of your digestion. The support here is about creating a little more calm in the gut so you can feel more calm in your moods. That might look like temporarily removing food sensitivities that are triggering irritation, which is one of my favorite tools and functional tests to run for clients because they can have such a big impact. But it's also supporting your digestion with simple, nourishing meals made from whole foods. And even bringing in some nutrients like L-glutamine or an herb like slippery elm to support your gut healing, and focusing on anti-inflammatory foods while your system settles. Because when your gut feels safe and supported, your mood will follow. And then there's another pattern that often shows up in a really specific way, where your anxiety seems to follow a rhythm. Maybe you wake up around 2 or 3 a.m. and your mind suddenly turns on, or you feel wired at night but exhausted in the morning. Or there are certain times of day where the anxiety just spikes. And again, there is a cause and a reason behind this. Your body runs on a very precise internal clock, what we call your circadian rhythm. This rhythm helps regulate your sleep, your energy, your blood sugar, and your cortisol levels throughout the day. Cortisol isn't a bad thing. It's actually meant to rise in the morning to help you wake up and feel alert, and gradually come down in the evening so your body can rest. But when that rhythm gets disrupted, your signals start to get mistimed. Cortisol can rise at the wrong times, and melatonin, the hormone that helps you sleep, can be reduced. And even your blood sugar regulation can become less stable. And together, that creates a perfect storm for anxiety symptoms in the body. This is why something as simple as one night of poor sleep can increase next day anxiety significantly. Because your brain becomes more reactive and your body has a harder time trying to regulate stress. And there's a modern layer to this that's really important. Artificial light at night, especially blue light from screens, can suppress melatonin, delaying your body's ability to wind down and make it harder for your system to fully recover overnight. So what you're feeling is real, and at the same time, it may not be emotional anxiety at all. It may be exhaustion combined with a circadian rhythm that's just slightly out of sync, because your body relies on consistent cues to stay regulated. Light exposure, food timing, and movement. And when those signals are inconsistent, your system can feel a little confused. The support here is about gently bringing your body back into a steady, consistent rhythm. That can look like getting natural light in your eyes in the morning within 30 minutes of waking up and going to bed at more consistent times, even on the weekends, and staying away from blue light screens at night. And creating a simple wind down routine in the evening so your body knows it's safe to rest. Because your body runs on a rhythm. And when that rhythm is supported, it becomes much easier to feel calm, steady, and regulated. So when you start to look at anxiety through this lens of your body just trying to communicate something with you, it stops feeling random and it starts to feel like information, signals, patterns. Your body is showing you where it needs support. And this is where everything begins to shift. Because instead of trying to manage or silence the anxiety, you can start responding to what's underneath it. With the right kind of support, with more understanding, and with a little more trust in how your body is actually working. And sometimes it can feel really overwhelming to know where to start or which system your body is actually asking you to support first. So if you want help figuring out all of that, click the link in my description below. I would love to talk with you and see how I can support you one-on-one.